1968. Vietnam. The jungle swallowed sound and light alike. Mist coiled between the trees. Mud clung to boots, every step uncertain, every breath heavy with the scent of rain and gunpowder. U.S. Marines moved forward, hearts pounding, eyes scanning. Something watched from the shadows. Entire squads vanished in the night. No gunfire, no screams, only silence. Only the echo of boots left behind. Patrols reported fleeting shapes moving ahead, almost human, yet wrong. A presence felt more than seen. Soldiers whispered of the dead who never left. Courage that refused to fade, that the Marines didn't die. They simply marched into a realm no living man could follow. Black silhouettes appeared before ambushes, spectral guides leading the living past death's reach. The enemy hesitated, unnerved, sensing something unnamed. Letters home contained frantic, fragmentary accounts. Singular disappearance, fate, unknown, mysterious occurrence. The official reports tried to sanitize the horrors, but the shadows persisted. Journals soaked in rain and blood documented inexplicable events. A fire team stepped forward, vanished, leaving only faint boot prints pressed into mud. Yet at dawn, survivors felt them still, lingering, unseen, an echo of valor. The night itself seemed alive, a witness to courage and fear intertwined. Campfire whispers, hurried confessions in dimly lit bunkers. They never really leave. The phrase grew into legend. Letters, journals, and eyewitness accounts all pointing towards something beyond comprehension. Civilians near the jungle noticed strange movements, figures watching, guiding, warning. And then came the horse, black as midnight. No rider, moving with purpose. Through fog and gunfire, the line between fact and myth blurred. The jungle held its secrets, and those who entered carried them forever. Shadows of courage refusing to fade. Marines who did not die, only regrouped. In a place beyond mortal understanding. 1968. Hue City. The air was thick with smoke from burning rice paddies mingling with the metallic scent of blood. The city was no longer a map of streets, but a maze of fire rubble and shadows. U.S. Marines had arrived expecting routine patrols, supply runs, minor skirmishes. Yet from the first hour, the city swallowed sound, muffled cries, gunfire that seemed to echo endlessly. And every step brought a sense of anticipation, of danger unseen. Patrols moved through alleyways where buildings had collapsed, walls blackened by fire. Civilians huddled in corners, whispering of strange figures at dusk. Reports noted enemy fighters moving with uncanny precision, vanishing before Marines could reach them. Yet amidst the chaos, other reports hinted at shadows moving independently. Figures appearing ahead of patrols, almost guiding them or warning them. Whispers grew, voices that seemed not entirely human. Official logs described singular disappearances. Squads sent to recon never returned. Footprints trailing through mud, then ending abruptly. No struggle, no enemy engagement, only absence, only silence, heavier than gunfire. Letters home contained fragmented accounts of lights flickering where no one stood. Movement at the corner of the eye. Officers dismissed the claims, but soldiers began to whisper, tension growing in every camp. Lieutenant Harris's journal chronicled repeated mysterious occurrences during night operations. One patrol heard footsteps echoing their own movements, though they were alone. Men reported feeling unseen eyes guiding, warning, testing them. We cannot explain it. The line between reality and something else blurs. The night moves with us, not against us. He wrote, anxiety seeping into the ink. His men were unsettled. Sleep became uneasy. Every shadow a question mark. Soldiers began naming the unseen companion. Black silhouettes at the edge of vision, always ahead of ambushes, moving with uncanny purpose, disappearing only to reappear impossibly. Campfire whispers grew. They never really leave. The phrase repeated, gaining legend. Every patrol began to see them differently, a protector, or a warning, or something beyond understanding. Civilians at the outskirts reported figures at dusk, moving in formation through fog. No sound, impossible movement. Some described a horse, black as midnight, riderless, moving with intent, a guide or watcher. The soldiers began hearing the same stories, whispers mingling with their own experiences. The line between folklore and reality dissolved. Tension grew into a palpable presence. After-action reports recorded contradictions. Maps marked patrols with question marks. Entire squads disappearing only to return hours later with no memory. Eyes haunted. Expressions blank, carrying an unseen presence. Official documents were sanitized. Journals soaked with rain and blood held truths. Fragments of events never fully explained. Yet whispers persisted. A shadow of valor trailing every surviving Marine. Night operations, heightened tension. Soldiers staring into jungle shadows for hours. Movement at the corner of their eyes. One entry, a shadow ran beside me during firefight. I fired. Nothing. It vanished. Yet it saved us. Words desperate, reverent. The patrols began to believe the jungle itself was alive. Observing, responding, guiding. An unspoken companion, invisible yet present. Every night, a new test. Each day blurred into the next. Patrols advancing through ruined streets, dodging snipers, rubble, and traps. Survivors reported squad mates vanishing only to return without recollection. Something unseen seemed to accompany them. Courage was tested. Fear amplified. A sense that something beyond mortal understanding moved with them. Valor echoed in mist, in mud, in fleeting glimpses. A presence both feared and revered. The fact layer remained tangible. Maps, journals, after-action reports. Dead, wounded, missing. Chaos of war. Yet folklore layer intertwined seamlessly. Shadows anticipating danger. Horses appearing riderless. Marines who did not die, only regrouped elsewhere. Somewhere the living could not follow. Whispers of courage refusing to fade. Stories that blurred the line between history and myth. Hugh watched silently. Streets abandoned yet alive with unseen witnesses. Every alley a potential observer. Ruined buildings holding secrets. Marines moved cautiously, recording what they could, fearing what they could not. Tension built with every step. Reality and legend interwoven. Every shadow a question. Every movement a story. The city itself a living, breathing participant. The first days of Hugh had already claimed countless lives. Yet soldiers claimed the presence of others. Unseen. Watching. Guiding. Courage unextinguished. An echo lingering in mist, refusing to fade. Marines who did not die, only regrouped. Whispers of spectral valor growing with every telling. A haunting legacy written in mud and smoke. Journals recounted impossible sightings. Fleeting shadows moving ahead of patrols. Soldiers disappearing and returning changed. Eyes wide, haunted. Murmurs of spirits stepping through walls appearing where no man could. Black silhouettes leading men past ambushes, sometimes disappearing, sometimes standing guard. The fear of the unknown merged with respect. Courage measured not by bullets, but by endurance in the unseen. Civilians, soldiers, officers, all bore witness in fragments. Shadows observed. Lights flickered without source. Sounds echoed without origin. Marines spoke in whispers. Journals, letters, and reports mingling fact and folklore. The Tet Offensive left its scars, but the stories of unseen companions, of courage beyond death, of shadows that never left, grew into legend, leaving a question lingering over Hue City. What truly moved in the darkness? The days dragged on. Marines pressed deeper into the city, every street a new test of nerves. After-action reports grew longer, filled with numbers of wounded, missing, and dead. Yet between the lines, fragments of the inexplicable. Patrols sent to scout alleys returned silent, eyes haunted, mouths shut. Their journals only hinted at what occurred. Some entries marked simply fate unknown, singular disappearance, no trace. Radio logs crackled with incomplete reports, coordinates marked with question marks, officers attempting to piece together events. Yet each map contradicted the last. Men sent in pairs vanished, sometimes for hours, sometimes never returned. No footprints leading away, no enemy engagement recorded. The reports tried to rationalize the chaos, but the facts themselves seemed unsettled. Field journals described ambushes that never happened, or occurred in locations no one could later identify. One patrol noted hearing voices in the darkness, others laughing, screaming, only to find the streets empty. Logs described eerie calm after heavy firefights, silence that pressed against the ears. The men felt watched, though nothing moved, nothing visible, only the weight of unseen eyes. Medical officers reported extreme stress, fatigue, men speaking in hushed tones, some writing letters that were never sent. Eyewitness statements conflicted. Soldiers claimed to see squad mates standing beside them one moment, gone the next. And yet when questioned, they insisted I didn't imagine it. It was there. A certainty that could not be denied. Documents attempted to capture it, numbers and casualty lists. Yet the human element, the terror of the unknown, was impossible to record fully. Maps of the city grew increasingly complex, annotated with strange symbols, marks denoting ambushes, sudden disappearances, unusual sightings. Officers scratched their heads, comparing logs. Nothing fit. Coordinates sometimes pointed to collapsed buildings, sometimes to empty streets. Men swore the maps shifted, as though the city itself resisted comprehension. Every patrol felt the pressure of eyes unseen, of paths watched, of danger hidden beyond perception. Letters sent home told another story. Frantic scrawls describing patrols moving in circles, returning to streets they had already cleared. Whispers of figures leading them, guiding them, or perhaps luring them. Villagers noticed the Marines pausing, staring, speaking in low voices, sometimes following shadows, sometimes hesitating as if sensing invisible obstacles. The lines between observation and paranoia blurred. Lieutenant Harris recorded sightings of shapes in the distance, dark silhouettes standing motionless, disappearing as bullets approached, sometimes reappearing in places impossible. One night, a fire team reported seeing faint boot prints crossing a street. No one had walked there. Yet the mud bore impressions, trailing into an alley and vanishing. Journals documented these events meticulously, yet questions outnumbered answers. Weapons logs recorded firings, sometimes hitting nothing, other times revealing enemy dead in locations previously unscouted. Patrols swore shots were deflected by unseen hands, bullets hitting shadows, impacts with no target. Officers dismissed claims, but the men wrote in private, sketching shadows, noting movements, detailing sounds that had no origin. Each report layered on top of the next, a mosaic of fact and something stranger. Squad diaries noted soldiers disappearing mid-mission, sometimes returning hours later, eyes wide, expressionless, no memory of where they had been. Officers interviewed them, answers fragmented, incoherent, yet consistent in one thing. Something moved with us, something we could not see. Maps, logs, casualty reports, all attempted to contain these anomalies. Yet they spilled beyond paper, into whispers, into the fear of every Marine. The fact layer documented the chaos. Numbers, positions, dates, yet woven through the facts, the evidence of the unknown. Entries noted lights moving through ruins, figures appearing at street corners, a horse, black riderless, appearing at multiple points simultaneously, patrols following it unknowingly, soldiers sensing presence, a guidance or a warning. These were anomalies captured in ink, tangible, yet impossible to fully explain. Witness statements described repeated patterns, sounds of footsteps echoing alone, shadows moving ahead, patrols encountering the same obstacles at the same hour. Reports cataloged these events meticulously. Officers tried to find patterns, tactical explanations, but the numbers, the logs, did not align with human behavior. Fact layer became a testament, not only to war, but to the inexplicable, the brush with something beyond. Even the official telegrams hinted at unease, phrases carefully phrased, unknown engagements, missing personnel, fate unaccounted for, language designed to sanitize, to normalize. But the men knew, and the journals knew, the city of Hyo, the battlefield. It did not follow maps. It did not obey logic. The fact layer, though real, was incomplete, fragmented, haunted. And still, the soldiers continued, patrols moving through streets, corners, alleyways, journals filled with meticulous records, maps annotated, reports filed. Yet each fact contained gaps, absences, traces that led nowhere, footprints that ended mid-street, shadows in photographs, silhouettes in the mist, bullets that struck nothing, yet shifted outcomes. Each day a testament to courage and to a reality beyond understanding. Night fell over Hue City. The mist thickened. Streets vanished beneath a blanket of shadow and fog. Marines whispered among themselves. Stories passed in low voices of figures moving ahead, disappearing, reappearing, always at the edge of perception. Some swore they saw black silhouettes guiding squads through deadly streets, a presence that was both protector and predator. Local villagers spoke of strange lights, flickering in alleys where no lamps stood, shadows of men and animals, moving with purpose, silent, observing, warning. One elder recounted seeing a horse black as night, no rider yet charging through ruins. Bullets seemed to pass through it, yet it led Marines away from traps. The stories mingled with fact, impossible to separate. Soldiers began noting patterns, figures appearing at the same hour each night, footsteps echoing alone, whispers in the trees, voices calling names that were not there, journals filled with sketches, strange symbols, maps annotated with marks of shadows. Patrols hesitated, unsure if they were being guided or hunted. Fear and awe intertwined. Campfires became gathering points for stories. Marines recounted fleeting glimpses, shadows standing at street corners, vanishing when approached. The unseen companion became legend. One patrol swore a figure walked beside them through firefights. No one could see it, yet its presence was undeniable. A guide, a sentinel, a ghost of valor. One night, a Marine recorded in his journal, "The city breathes, watches, judges. I feel it in my chest. A heartbeat not my own. The shadow moves with us. We cannot see it, yet it protects or tests. I do not know which." Words repeated across other journals, a chorus of uncertainty, a shared experience beyond reason. Stories spread among units. Soldiers began referring to the phenomenon as the Marchers, spirits of the fallen, regrouping to protect the living. Whispers claimed the dead returned, unseen, leading patrols out of ambushes or into peril. Each story adding weight, each account a shadow overlapping reality, fact bleeding into folklore. Villagers noticed the same patterns, lights moving through ruined streets, shapes standing motionless on rooftops, sometimes appearing in multiple locations simultaneously. Some believed these were the spirits of fallen Marines, keeping watch, ensuring courage persisted. Tales spread. Soldiers and civilians alike began to see the city differently. Alive, sentient, haunted. One patrol recounted seeing a black horse, riderless, moving swiftly through the fog. Soldiers followed, unsure if it was guiding or testing them. They emerged from a trap unharmed. Bullets missed their positions. The horse disappeared, leaving behind only hoof prints in mud. Journals recorded the event, alongside sketches, annotations, awe, fear, reverence. Legends grew of the silent shadows, figures appearing before ambushes, warning of danger, sometimes saving lives, sometimes disappearing just long enough to make men doubt their own senses. Soldiers began to trust instinct over sight, guided by something unseen, an invisible hand, a presence that could not be ignored. Some claimed whispers at night, voices not their own, murmuring orders, naming men by rank, alerting them to dangers unseen. Patrols reported the same. Words recorded in journals, repeated by different soldiers, separate locations, same phrasing, same urgency. The city itself seemed alive, a theater for the unseen. Even the most skeptical officers could not deny the strange occurrences. Reports filed, anomalies noted, yet explanations were absent. Soldiers and civilians alike spoke in hushed tones, of shadows, lights, and a feeling of being watched. The legend became reality. Fact became folklore, intertwined in the fog of war. The folklore layer thickened. Stories of Marines who did not die, only regrouped, somewhere unseen. Whispers of courage transcending death. Echoes in the mist. Shadows walking beside the living. The Tet Offensive became a backdrop, but the legend overshadowed even the fiercest firefights. Marines remembered, feared, revered. Some journals described impossible rescues. Marines trapped, bullets raining down, a shadow appearing, guiding them to safety. The soldiers never saw who or what it was. Only the results. Lives saved. Survival inexplicable. An unseen hand moving through reality, leaving only awe and unanswered questions. By the final nights of the battle, stories converged. Marines, civilians, and soldiers all spoke of the same phenomenon. Shadows, black horses, silent footsteps. Figures appearing and disappearing, guiding and testing. The city itself seemed to guard its secrets. History and legend merged, leaving a haunting presence lingering, a mystery never fully explained. Hue City's streets held the echoes. Every ruined building, every silent alley, a testimony to courage beyond sight. Marines who did not die only regrouped, somewhere unseen. The unseen companion, a shadow of valor. Stories passed quietly, journals preserved, whispers carried through the mist. The folklore layer solidified, a living memory, haunting every step, every breath, every shadow. The jungle beyond Hue seemed endless, a labyrinth of shadows. Marines moved cautiously, patrols stretched into streets lined with rubble, the air thick with smoke, and whispers of the unseen lingered. Soldiers began noticing familiar patterns, shadows appearing in multiple locations, lights flickering, footsteps echoing where none should exist. The city itself seemed to breathe and watch. Reports from neighboring sectors told of similar phenomena. Black silhouettes moving ahead of patrols, entire squads reporting strange guidance, men disappearing only to return hours later, eyes wide, haunted. Journals repeatedly mentioning unseen companions, words like protecting, testing, watching, written over and over. The line between reality and legend blurred. Villagers whispered of the spirits of fallen Marines, regrouping, invisible, guarding those who survived, guiding them past hidden traps. Some claimed to see black horses, riderless, charging through ruined streets, appearing where danger was greatest. The soldiers themselves began to repeat the stories, in hushed voices around fires, fearful, reverent. The bridge became clear, a motif emerging across units, from Hue to Khe Sanh, from the edges of Vietnam to other battlefields. Wherever courage met chaos, the same phenomenon appeared. Shadows of valor, spirits of the dead moving among the living, guiding, testing, observing. A presence that transcended mortal understanding. Lieutenant Harris wrote of repeated sightings, patrols sensing guidance, the city's layout appearing to shift, buildings and alleys seeming unfamiliar from one day to the next. Maps contradicted themselves. Patrols followed shadows into streets that should have been familiar, yet led to safety or unexpected danger. The unseen companion's purpose remained unknown. Soldiers reported hearing whispers in the dark, voices repeating commands, naming men by rank, giving directions. Yet no source could be found. Footprints appeared, vanished. Items moved inexplicably. Journals recorded it all. Maps annotated with strange symbols. Officers attempted rational explanations. None sufficed. The soldiers' experiences were undeniable. The pattern became ritualistic. The phenomenon followed the same time each night. Lights flickered. Shadows appeared. Patrols felt guidance, sometimes rescue, sometimes warning. Every unit began to notice. This was not random. This was intent, an unseen hand weaving through the chaos of battle. Fact and folklore merged, creating a shared experience beyond logic. Even enemy troops seemed aware. Some reports claimed attackers hesitated, unnerved, sensing something they could not name, a presence that moved with the Marines, almost protective, almost judging. Letters home hinted at strange occurrences. Though heavily censored, fragments survived. Whispers of something beyond mortal comprehension. Medical officers noted the psychological impact. Men under extreme stress, yet unbroken. Courage heightened by the presence of the unseen. Some began describing figures aiding them in moments of peril. A touch, a shadow passing, a direction given silently. The bridge between life and legend became palpable, real in the minds of those who lived it. Stories intertwined. Marines, civilians, and officers all reporting similar events, repeated sightings, patterns of guidance, a presence always ahead of danger, sometimes moving in tandem, sometimes appearing where least expected. Folklore became operational reality. Fear and trust intermingled, the legend informed action. Survival depended on believing. One soldier wrote, "It walks with us, unseen. Yet I feel its steps in the mud, its gaze in the dark. We are never alone. Yet we cannot see. We follow, or it leads. I cannot tell which, only that it exists." Words echoed in dozens of journals, a bridge connecting individual accounts into a tapestry of shared mystery. As the weeks of combat continued, Marines noticed repeated phenomena: the unseen companion guiding, saving, warning. Soldiers adapted. Tactics influenced by legend. Every alleyway, every ruined building, became a stage for the spectral presence. The bridge connected chaos to order, fact to folklore, history to myth, a rhythm emerging from the horror of war. By the end of the Hue operations, patterns of the unseen companion were undeniable. Multiple units reporting consistent experiences: shadows, black horses, whispered commands, footsteps without origin, patrols surviving impossible situations. The bridge was complete, a link from past battles to present events. Fact layer confirmed. Folklore layer enriched, leaving soldiers with awe, fear, and the lingering question what truly moved among them. The night over Hue City thickened into a living shadow, fog curling between ruined buildings. Marines advanced cautiously, boots sinking into mud, air thick with smoke and the metallic scent of blood. Whispers of the unseen companion carried on the wind. Patrols reported shadows moving independently, figures appearing just out of reach, guiding, warning, testing. The line between reality and legend blurred with every step. Patrols entered alleys where rubble blocked all known paths. Walls blackened by fire seemed to shift when glanced at. Flashes of light in broken windows. Footsteps echoing where no one walked. One Marine swore he saw a black figure on a rooftop, observing, then disappearing, a presence tangible, yet untouchable. Letters home fragmented, officers puzzled. The city itself seemed alive, aware. Entire squads vanished mid-patrol, returning hours later with no memory. Journals marked with phrases fate unknown, singular disappearance. Expressions haunted eyes wide. One soldier wrote, "I felt someone beside me, unseen, guiding me past danger, yet I could not see it, only trust it." Other soldiers echoed similar accounts, the phenomenon no longer rare. The unseen companion seemed intentional. Bullets ricocheted unpredictably. Some missed their targets entirely. Some were deflected as if by invisible hands. Patrols survived ambushes that should have been fatal. Horses black riderless appeared through misted streets, leading squads past traps. Soldiers hesitated, unsure if guidance or test, every movement scrutinized, adrenaline mixed with awe and fear. Journals chronicled each event meticulously. Reports described repeated occurrences at the same hour nightly, shadows always appearing ahead of danger, whispers calling names, footsteps matching those of the patrol, lights flickering in ruined courtyards. Soldiers relied on instinct, Shadows became guides, sometimes rescuers, sometimes observers. Patrols adapted tactics, trusting unseen hands. Legends taking shape in real time. Civilians also reported anomalies. Lights in alleyways with no lamps, dark figures on rooftops, horse hooves echoing through empty streets. Villagers whispered of spirits protecting the living. Marines began repeating the stories, campfire murmurs blending folklore with first-hand experience. Fear and reverence intertwined. The city itself became a stage for the unseen, a living test of courage. Night after night, the pattern intensified. Patrols moving in circles, streets seemed to shift. Patrols encountering ambushes predicted by fleeting shadows. Soldiers saw the same figures multiple times, vanishing so to create doubt. Every survival became a testament. Fact and folklore layered, each incident reinforcing the legend. Soldiers spoke quietly, eyes darting, senses heightened. One fire team documented a black silhouette, moving ahead through gunfire. Patrol emerged unscathed. Footprints in mud confirmed passage, bullets hitting walls without effect. Marines swore by its presence. The figure disappeared as suddenly as it arrived. Only the results remained. The unseen companion saving lives, testing resolve, instilling awe, leaving questions and fear. Enemy forces seemed unsettled, halting movements, sensing something undefinable, hesitation in attack. Whispers claimed shadows mirrored the Marines, appearing in impossible positions, sometimes guiding, sometimes observing. Patrols noted every detail. Sketches, journals, maps annotated with strange symbols. Every surviving Marine a witness, tension reaching its peak. Some patrols reported multiple figures, shadows moving in tandem. A black horse appearing simultaneously at several points, guiding squads through danger. Men described voices, commands repeated, sometimes life-saving, sometimes cryptic. Soldiers writing hurriedly, documenting impossible events. Fact and folklore blending seamlessly. The city alive with mystery. Medical officers recorded extreme stress. Men sleepless. Haunted expressions. Whispers of guidance and protection pervading dreams. Journals filled with sketches and symbols. Entries overlapping. Voices calling. Footsteps echoing. Patrols emerged shaken, yet alive. Confidence tempered with awe. The climax of rising incidents built. Suspense tangible. Maps became unreliable. Buildings seemed to rearrange. Streets changed orientation. Patrols circled repeatedly, yet always survived. Shadows appeared at precise moments, leading them past mines, avoiding sniper fire. Every incident meticulously logged, yet rational explanations failed. The unseen companion proving more than coincidence. Fact layer solid folklore, layer dominant. Letters from officers hinted at the unexplainable, unknown engagements, missing personnel, fate unaccounted for, language sanitized. Yet the soldiers' journals told another story. Shadows, black horses, whispers, repeated sightings, patrols surviving impossible scenarios. Climax reached, tension unbearable, adrenaline and fear intertwined, reality and legend indistinguishable. By the height of the Tet Offensive, incidents multiplied, patrols trapped, bullets raining, explosions, shadows guiding, horses appearing, footsteps without origin, soldiers relying on unseen presence, bravery measured not by firepower, but by intuition, instinct, trust in the unseen companion. every survival miraculous, every journal entry a testament, fact and folklore inseparable. Hue City itself became a character, alive, sentient, observing, testing courage, Marines moving through ruined streets, guided, warned, saved, yet unsure, shadows walking beside them, unseen, unexplainable. The climax of rising incidents cemented a legend, the battlefield forever haunted, every footstep echoing, every breath filled with uncertainty, leaving awe and dread lingering in mist. The night over Hue City lingered, mist curling through the streets, smoke hanging heavy over collapsed buildings. Marines emerged from the chaos, eyes wide, breath ragged, hearts pounding with the memory of shadows that moved beside them, steps echoing through alleys, footprints that seemed to appear and vanish, whispers carried by the wind, an unseen presence lingering, watching, judging. Patrols recounted their experiences again, journals closed carefully, maps folded and tucked away, yet the memories remained etched in every muscle, every nerve. The city held secrets the eye could not see, shadows that had guided, warned, tested, courage that transcended ordinary comprehension, valor that became legend, the Tet offensive fading in memory, but the unseen companion persisted. Villagers whispered anew, of flickering lights in empty streets, dark figures atop rooftops, horses moving without riders, shadows that appeared at the edge of perception, the unseen companion, impossible to explain. Soldiers themselves repeated the stories in low tones, around campfires in barracks, blending fear with awe, belief and uncertainty merging, every account feeding the legend. Even months later, veterans could not shake the feeling, eyes narrowing at empty corners, ears straining at distant echoes, footsteps in abandoned alleyways, whispers that carried commands, names called that were not there, journals revisited, entries compared, stories slightly changed, yet all pointing to the same reality, the presence of something beyond, watching, guiding, protecting, testing. Maps could no longer guide with certainty. Streets shifted in memory, alleys unfamiliar, the buildings rearranged in the minds of those who survived. Yet instincts remained. The unseen companion's guidance was felt. Every patrol, every step, every decision, influenced by something beyond human understanding. Fact layer recorded events. Folklore layer infused them with awe and dread. Letters home hinted at the inexplicable, unknown engagements, missing personnel, fate unaccounted for, carefully phrased, sanitized. Yet soldiers' private journals told another story. Shadows moving through alleys, a black horse appearing at key moments, footsteps without origin, patrols surviving impossible situations, the climax of the unseen companion embedded into memory, leaving fear and respect in equal measure. Soldiers spoke of courage carried beyond death, Marines who did not die, only regrouped, somewhere unseen, guiding the living, unseen hands pulling men from danger, shadows standing sentinel, whispers issuing orders that could not be traced, each story indelible, written into mud, smoke, and blood, valor preserved in legend. The final patrols moved through empty streets, rubble quiet. Yet the weight of the unseen remained, shadows clinging to memory. The city alive with testimony, every corner holding stories, every ruined building a witness. Marines stepping carefully, eyes scanning, every step a negotiation between fear and instinct, guided by an invisible presence. The unseen companion, the black horse, shadows that saved lives, whispers that warned, footsteps that could not be traced, all remained, a question unanswered, a legend living in the mist, in journals, in memories, courage enduring, beyond sight, beyond death. The battlefield itself forever changed, every shadow a story, every movement a question. Hue City's streets empty now still whispered, ruins holding echoes of unseen guides, patrols surviving ambushes, bullets deflected by invisible hands, shadows walking beside Marines, courage tested, bravery proven. The city itself became a character, alive, observing, recording, and the unseen companion, a silent participant in every survival, every escape, every heart-pounding moment. Even years later, veterans spoke quietly, voices low, eyes scanning the distance, a footstep in the corner of the eye, a shadow that moved just slightly, memories alive with fear and awe, journals read aloud, stories retold with trembling voice, the line between fact and folklore blurred completely, every recounting reinforcing the legend, the unseen companion never truly gone. The city held its secrets, every ruined building, every silent alleyway, a memory of courage, of shadows that guided, saved, tested. Marines who did not die, only regrouped, legends walking unseen, echoes of valor lingering in the mist, the battlefield haunted, the city alive, and the story forever incomplete. As dawn approached, the mist began to lift, yet questions remained. Were the Marines ever truly alone, or did something unseen walk beside them, through gunfire, smoke, death itself, guiding, protecting, testing, an invisible hand, a shadow of valor, always present, unseen, unknowable. The story leaves more questions than answers, echoes of courage and the unknown, lingering in the ruins, in every patrol, in every survivor's memory. History recording the impossible, the city holding secrets no map could capture, every step a question, every shadow a story, the legend enduring, challenging understanding, questioning reality. Hue City, the battlefield, the mist, silent witnesses to events beyond comprehension. Marines who did not die, only regrouped. Unseen legends walking among the living. Courage unbroken. The unseen companion remains, and the story continues, in whispers, in journals, in every shadow, in every heartbeat. You've just listened to another story from Echoes of the Unknown. If you want to uncover more, subscribe now. Step into the shadows of history, where courage, legend, and the unexplained converge, and where the unseen companion still walks beside those who dare.